For 3,000 years, the galaxy had known only peace. The stars were quiet, the fleets were sleeping, and the wounds of the old war had turned to dust. The ancient truce, a promise between humans and the alien empires, had held longer than anyone believed possible. But peace never lasts forever. In the dark space between Mars and Jupiter, a deep space sensor suddenly came alive. A strange signal was moving through the void, slow, old, and filled with static. It was written in a language no one had used for thousands of years. The message repeated again and again, simple and cold. We are coming. Inside the Earth command ship Aegis 1, the bridge fell silent. Officers stared at the screen as the signal grew stronger. Captain Mara Lynn stood still, her eyes fixed on the glowing letters. She remembered the stories of the First War, when planets burned and humans almost disappeared. Now the same enemy had returned. "Can we confirm the source?" one officer asked quietly. Mara's voice was calm. "Yes," she said. "It came from the Orion sector." Outside the ship, the stars flickered, faint, almost nervous. Far away, something huge was moving through the darkness. Alien ships, old but powerful, were waking after long sleep. Their engines burned like blue fire. The silence of space began to change. Mara looked out the window, her reflection pale in the glass. 3,000 years, she whispered, and they still don't understand us. The signal pulsed again, louder this time, like a heartbeat. Across the galaxy, fleets began to stir. The sky that had been silent for so long was about to scream once more. The truce was broken. The war had returned. The alien fleet moved like a storm through the stars. Their ships were sharp, black and glowing with blue energy veins. They called themselves the Rakari Dominion, the same empire that once tried to erase humanity from the galaxy. For 3,000 years they had waited, rebuilt, and planned. Now their war drums echoed again. Their first target was a small mining colony on Titan. The attack came without warning. One moment the sky was calm, and the next it was filled with fire. The ground shook as alien beams tore through buildings. Thousands vanished in seconds. The Rakari sent one message to Earth Command. The age of humans is over. But Earth didn't panic. Not this time. Deep under the red soil of Mars, massive hangars began to open. Old machines, warships older than any living person, started to rise again. Their engines roared to life, shaking the dust of centuries from their armor. On the moon, engineers activated defense satellites that had slept since the truce began. The quiet world turned bright with weapon lights. Inside Aegis 1, Captain Mara Lynn watched the reports come in. Her voice was steady. "Prepare the fleets," she ordered. No broadcasts. No speeches. Just action. The humans moved in silence, calm, focused, cold. When the first alien destroyer entered human space, expecting no resistance, it found itself surrounded. Dozens of hidden ships appeared out of nowhere. In a single burst of light, the destroyer vanished, torn apart by railgun fire. For the first time in 3,000 years, humanity had struck back. And somewhere across the dark galaxy, the aliens finally understood the humans were not afraid. They were waiting. Far beyond Neptune, hidden deep inside the frozen darkness, something ancient was sleeping. No one on Earth remembered its name. Only a few lines of code buried in old military archives whispered about it. Project Revenant. When the alien signal reached the edge of the solar system, that code woke up. Cold servers blinked to life. Rusted machines began to hum. A voice, digital and calm, spoke after thousands of years of silence. Protocol Humanity, activated. Under the ice, massive shadows started to move. What looked like frozen mountains began to rise. They weren't mountains, they were ships. Huge, black, heavy war machines built before the truce, when humanity still believed war would never end. Their hulls were covered in frost, their engines silent for ages. Now, one by one, they awakened. In the command chamber of Aegis 1, Captain Mara watched the data appear on her screen. "It's real," she said softly. "Revenant lives." Her crew stared in shock. Some called it a myth, a ghost fleet, but now it was answering Earth's signal. Across space, hundreds of old human dreadnoughts turned toward the alien advance. Their lights glowed red like eyes opening after a long sleep. The alien commanders saw the movement and laughed. "Old ships," they said. "Old tech, weak. But when the first Revenant ship fired, space itself seemed to tremble. The beam cut through an alien cruiser in a single shot. No warning, no mercy. The aliens stopped laughing. Captain Mara smiled coldly. "Let them come," she whispered. They wanted war. Now they'll meet the ones who built it. The forgotten fleet had returned, and the galaxy remembered why the truce existed. The aliens reached the edge of the solar system, a dark wall of ships stretching across the stars. Their fleet was massive, glowing with cold blue energy. To them, victory seemed certain. They believed humanity would beg, would hide, would surrender. But humanity didn't move. Not yet. Captain Mara Lynn stood on the bridge of Aegis 1, eyes calm, voice steady. "Hold positions," she said. Around her, hundreds of human ships floated in silence, waiting, invisible behind the gas clouds of Saturn. Then, without warning, the first alien missile entered human space. It burned through the black sky like a falling star, and hit nothing. In that same moment, human ships decloaked, engines blazing. Fire. The order echoed across the fleet. From every side, light exploded. Railguns, plasma cannons, laser storms, the void came alive. Alien shields cracked under the impact. Dozens of enemy vessels turned to fire, but humans were faster. Years of silence had turned into a storm of steel and flame. The battle stretched from Saturn's rings to Jupiter's orbit. Planets glowed with reflected fire. The Revenant fleet joined in, massive and unstoppable, their ancient cannons tearing through the alien line. On board her ship, Mara watched explosions bloom like stars. "We waited for peace," she whispered, "but they wanted war. So we'll give them one to remember." The aliens pushed forward with fury, but they were unprepared for human strategy. Old instincts mixed with new technology. Every time they advanced, a hidden trap awaited. By the time the first alien commander realized what had happened, half their fleet was gone. The war for Sul had begun, and humanity was winning. The war had turned into chaos. Explosions painted the darkness red. Broken ships drifted silently through the void, human and alien alike. The once peaceful solar system was now a graveyard of burning metal. The Rakari, desperate and furious, brought out their ultimate weapon, the Gravian core, a device that could bend gravity itself. When they activated it, space twisted. Human ships were pulled apart like paper, torn by invisible hands. 1/3 of the fleet vanished within minutes. On Aegis 1, alarm screamed. "Shields collapsing," shouted an officer. Captain Mara stood firm. Her face was pale but calm. "We can't match their power," she said quietly, "but we can break their control." A secret plan was already in motion. Deep in the alien formation, a small human strike team, Echo Squad, moved unseen. Their mission, to reach the Gravian core and destroy it from inside. They flew through wreckage and debris, their ship half broken, but their voices steady. Commander Rook, the squad leader, sent his final message to Aegis 1. "If this works, tell them. We didn't run. They breached the alien command ship, corridors alive with strange light." Alien soldiers screamed and fired, but Echo Squad kept moving. When they reached the core chamber, Rook stared at the swirling energy within. "This is it," he whispered. He placed the charge, looked at his team, and smiled. The same cold smile that every human now carried. A flash brighter than a sun filled the sky. The Gravian core collapsed, tearing through the alien fleet like a storm. Silence followed. Captain Mara looked at the sensors. The alien signals were fading. Slowly, she exhaled. The tide had turned. Humanity was not just surviving, it was winning. The battle was over, but space was still burning. Wrecks floated like ghosts, glowing in the dim light of distant suns. The once mighty Rakari armada was gone. Scattered, broken, silent. On the bridge of Aegis 1, Captain Mara Lynn stood before the wide glass window, watching the debris drift. Her crew was quiet, exhausted, but alive. For the first time in 3,000 years, there was no enemy signal, no threat, no fear, only the calm after chaos. A message came through the static. It was weak, trembling, and filled with confusion. It was from the alien high command. "Human."
"Why did you wait so long?"
the voice asked. "Why did you not strike first?" Mara closed her eyes for a moment, then answered softly, her tone steady and cold. "Because we remembered," she said. "We remembered what happens when humans fight. Her words echoed through the silence of the bridge. No one spoke after that. Across the galaxy, human fleets stopped firing. The remaining alien ships fled into the dark, leaving behind only silence. The war was done, not by treaty, not by surrender, but by fear. Mara turned to her crew. "Recover the survivors," she ordered. "We rebuild from the ashes." Outside, the stars seemed brighter. For a moment, the universe was quiet again, but it was a different kind of silence. Not peace, but warning. As Aegis 1 drifted past the remains of the alien flagship, Mara looked out into the endless void. A faint smile touched her lips, not of joy but of understanding. "They'll come again," she whispered. "And when they do, we'll be waiting."